Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the second lecture of the lecture series Introduction to Interaction Design. I am Dr. Sonal Atreya, Assistant Professor in the Department of Design at IIT Roorkee. So, in the last lecture, in the introduction lecture, we saw what is interaction design, what is human computer interaction, and the advancements that technology have made since 1950s approximately, that today we have such interactive products around us. We also saw some of the initial technologies like ENIAC, and we discussed that how did these need of interactive products came about. So, in today's lecture we will continue our discussion, and we will be looking at some of the pioneers of in the area of interaction design and their contributions, and we will talk about how and where interaction design fits into the scope of overall design. So, Don Norman is a professor, a researcher, and he has spent a lot of his time on understanding the cognitive engineering or the cognitive sciences. So, and has also authored several books, and one book, which is The Design of Everyday Things, is one of the most popular books that generally all design schools and design students they read. So, this particular book talks about the everyday products and what goes into making them, utility oriented, as well as which give joy, and also focusing on the user centered approach that Don Norman undertakes, that how can we come up with better products. Then we have Steve Krug, so who is a user experience designer and who has done an extensive amount of work in understanding and teaching about how we can make more interactive experiences for people. And he is the author of the book Don't Make Me Think, which is a book I think which came out in 2000s, and since then it has been reprinted a couple of times. But even when it came out in the early 2000s, at that time also it held all the wisdom that we still go back to today. So, it's a good book and recommended for people who are interested to study about the user experience design. Then Dieter Rams is a German designer, and he is associated with Braun, which is a German company, and also Witso, which is a furniture company. And Dieter has the theory or his belief that less but better. So, that is his mantra that he has, and we can see it being reflected in the works that he have done at Braun. For example, the gramophone that he had designed, which is also known as the Cinderella's coffin. So, how the lines are simple and beautiful and it serves the purpose. Similarly, the furniture that he has designed is also minimalistic and less but better. Dieter Ram's work has also influenced the Apple products that we see now, where they are utilitarian, but at the same time they are very aesthetically pleasing as well. So, when we see HCI, human computer interaction and design, so HCI has come a long way from how it was envisioned or how it used to work initially, which was in a very linear fashion. You can see that from the problem to the prototype, that was the approach, and design was considered to be having more nuances, more connections, and more analytical part was also involved there. But now we can see that human computer interaction is also getting more complex. It's also getting the understanding the and integrating the whole design process and design learning to come up with a better and improved interaction with the users and computers. And we can see here that how the theory, analysis, judgment and inspiration, they are all being integrated to come up with better human computer interaction. And it is not just now just in the domain of design, but also entering or we can say influencing the human computer interaction domain. Now, what is interaction design? So, we have answered this question in the previous lecture as well, but let us see what it is, because to understand design and to understand that where it fits in the scope of overall design, we need to understand what it is. So, it has several definitions. You can see some definitions on the screen itself, but by interaction design, we can also say that designing interactive products to support the way people communicate and interact in their everyday and working lives. Now, interaction design also has certain theories, certain approaches, and we will be discussing those in detail in some of the future lectures. But let us see that where does interaction design fit in the overall scope of design. So, now UI, which is a user interface, and UX, which is the user experience. So, these are two components of interaction design, and the goal of interaction design is to create interfaces that are intuitive, user friendly and also efficient. Whereas, we can see that the user interface design focuses mainly on the interactive aspects of the interface. So, where we have buttons, menus, icons, the layout, also the color scheme is needs to be decided along with the typography. So, all of these things, when they are put together well, so they create a visually appealing interface, and it makes it very easy for the user to navigate through this interface. User experience is concerned with the overall user experience, that how is one feeling, like we talked about emotion in the previous lecture. So, are they feeling emotional connect with the system or not, and also the usability, the accessibility. So, what is the impact of this particular system in those particular areas, and the UX design is responsible for creating a user centric interface that meets the user's needs and expectations. So, it is very important to consider all of these when we are designing for users, because on a daily basis we see many applications come out and many of them die within a few days, because maybe one application is very cumbersome to use. So, maybe it is not allowing me to get the information quickly, or it is taking me round and round in circles, and whereas the other application has a very clear cut way in which I am interacting with it, I am able to find my information quickly. For example, if I am searching for my train's arrival, then one app is very efficient in telling me where to expect my coach, where will be my seat, but the other one is just confusing me further. Just a simple example. And when we put together the user interface and user experience, so they both play a critical role in creating visually appealing and user friendly interfaces, and this enhances the user's overall experience with the digital technology. So, we can see here that it is not very simple that UI, UX and user interaction. So, we can see that how so many different domains are also interlinked in creating this particular ecosystem of the design. Now, there are several disciplines coming from the academic disciplines, like here we can see ergonomics, psychology, design, informatics, that inform the interaction design. Similarly, we have the design practices also, like graphic design, product design, industrial design, which also inform the interaction design. And at the same time, we have other areas like human factors, cognitive engineering, cognitive ergonomics, computer supported cooperative work. So, these inform the interaction design, and interaction design in turn also informs them. So, we can see that how it is big, a learning space for interaction design. Now, we will today be looking at some of the principles when it comes to interaction design. So, these are words, visual representations, physical objects or space, time and behavior, and we will just see that how they can make or break the experience of the user when they are interacting with this. Now, words hold a very important meaning, because a positive word can really encourage somebody, and a negative word can really discourage one. So, we see this all around ourselves as well, that how positive people are always making us feel better about ourselves, and how negativity really puts us down. So, now how the applications or websites they interact with us. Now, here we can see that this website is giving the message that oh, something went wrong on our end. So, what they are doing is they are taking the blame for something that has gone wrong. Now, it may be on their part, it may be on the user's part, or it could be some other reason, but they are graciously taking this blame on themselves. And if you also notice, the visual that is supporting this is a dog. So, puppy face, which is when somebody makes, we tend to forgive them because they are cute. So, now they are also adding to these words a visual which is supporting their apology. On the other hand, we can see that how certain words and colors are used to grab the attention of the user, like trendy pics for him, snazzy styles for her. So, one would be curious that what is the trend nowadays which is going on, or what are these snazzy pics, how did I miss these snazzy pics. So, maybe let me go and just take a quick look, and then one may end up spending more time there. Also, another way is that how the price is mentioned. So, there are many ways that the words are used to pull the consumer or the customer. Now, visual representation is how the, instead of words, how we can represent the information visually. Now, for example, if one is looking for an accommodation in Airbnb and we see these images, then we will probably, before reading about the what the accommodation is offering in terms of other facilities, we will probably see that what does it look like. If the accommodation appeals to us visually, we will be prompted to read about it, and we may also probably overlook some of the and compromise over some other things, like maybe the distance from the metro may be too much, or maybe it may not have hot water. So, we may be ready to overlook these small mistakes or small requirements that we have, because visually it has appealed to us. Also, if it does not appeal to us, probably we will not even go to the length of reading about the description of the accommodation. So, visual representation becomes very important when we are trying to communicate to the viewer. Now, physical object or space. So, even if we have a good set of words, we have very good visual imagery with us, but if it is not organized properly in the visual space, then it really holds no meaning. So, the whole purpose is lost. So, then we have grids, margins, how do we place the image, text. So, it becomes very important that what is the layout, how are we presenting this information, so that it is not just strewn all over haphazardly, but it has a certain hierarchy, a certain way in which the user can access the information and catch the important information and then go maybe to the less important information. The other thing which is important in the physical object or space is also that if whether the same information I can access in different interfaces, like for example, if there is a desktop or a laptop or a tablet or a cell phone. So, am I able to view this effectively in all those four mediums, or will it sort of change its form when I am using a mobile and it's not very convenient and it's just convenient to browse on the desktop. So, that is another important thing to be taken care of. And at the same time, because what happens is that our because our where we are using the particular application will change. I may be using it in Delhi Metro or in DTC bus. So, wherever I am using it, I should be able to access it as I would maybe in the comfort of my home. Now, time is also another very important factor, because how much time is it taking for us to complete a function, or how much time is it taking us to maybe identify something that will make me gravitate towards a certain application, because my time is also getting saved. Like for example, if I am going online to purchase a certain product, now I if it is an expensive one, I would probably want to compare it with one or two more products. So, do I have to go and search for it somewhere else, or is the application presenting me, understands my requirements, my needs, and it is already comparing it and showing me a table of it, so I can quickly make a judgment, for example. And many of these applications which earlier did not have this comparative feature, now they have introduced that, because they are studying the user, they are trying to understand their needs, and accordingly they are changing their whole design and the way the user can interact with their product or system. And lastly, we have the behavior. That is something that is very challenging, because each one of us have a very different behavior. It is very difficult to interpret that how would one behave in a certain situation. So, there are many permutation and combinations when it comes to the user behavior, and behavior is also influenced by many factors. So, but this is of great interest for designers to understand that the user behavior. Sometimes we would want the user to change their behavior. Now, is it possible? Can the application make the user change their behavior, or will the user discard it because it is posing to be a burden, or it is posing to be too restrictive. So, those are things that also designers need to think. Like for example, all of these apps wherein we say we want to avoid procrastination, or we want to save our time. So, whether the behavior of the user is actually changing when they are using these applications, or after some time the user just deletes them from their phone. So, but understanding the behavior of the user is still a very integral and very important area of research for the designers. So, we will end today's lecture here, and in the next lecture we will be looking at some of the processes by which we can identify problems, user problems, and how can we come or arrive to the solutions. So, we will stop here, we will meet next time. Thank you.